Hello and welcome to Current News. My name is Neel. In this special segment, we will discuss news which is important from the perspective of your exam. The bulletin of the last whole week which might echo in your question paper in the examination hall. Let's begin with the headlines. Debate over the status of national language. Debate is sparked after noted actor's remark, at present Hindi is the official language of the Union of India. After triple talaq, Talaq-e-Hasan also challenged in the Supreme Court. All forms of unilateral, extra-judicial talaq divorce violate fundamental rights of women. Petition filed in the Supreme Court in this regard. Chinese President Xi Jinping launches Global Security Initiative. It aims at countering Quad and AUKUS. This initiative was discussed at Boao Forum for Asia. RBI's Currency and Finance Report for 21-22 released. India may take 13 years to recover from the losses suffered due to COVID pandemic. The report revolves around 7 wheels of economic progress. And Global Network Against Food Crisis report on global food insecurity released. Millions of people experienced food insecurity, conflicts and economic shocks responsible for food insecurity. Let's begin with news of the week. A recent remark made by a noted film actor on Hindi has sparked a controversy over the status of the language under the Constitution of India. He had stated that Hindi is the national language of India, and many were quick to point out that there is no national language for India. In fact, the debate over Hindi is not new. This issue has always been widely discussed in the country. It is worth mentioning that official language is the language used in carrying out official and administrative works. However, national language is a language officially designated the language of a nation or country. The Constitution of India does not grant the status of national language to any language. However, Hindi, written in Devanagari script, has been recognized as the official language of the Union of India under Article 343 Part 1. Besides Hindi, the use of English language for all the official purposes has also been recognized. It was provisioned that English would continue to be used as an official language for the period of 15 years from the commencement of Indian Constitution. However, English continued to be used as an official language even after the expiry of 15 years due to protests by the non-Hindi speaking states regarding language. It must be noted that Article 344 of the Indian Constitution provides for the formation of a commission for official language. The purpose of the commission is to make recommendations for the progressive use of Hindi for official purposes of the Union. Besides, according to Article 351, it is the Union government's duty to promote the spread of Hindi. Recently, a major step has been taken towards implementing the national policy on education. The Union Education Minister has recently launched a mandate document of National Curriculum Framework or NCF. Widespread national consultations with multiple stakeholders are taking place for the development of the framework. The mandate document includes preparing curriculum framework in 4 areas of education. These are school education, early childhood care and education, teacher education, and adult education. The National Education Policy or NEP 2020 also recommends the development of national curricular framework in 4 areas. Also, the National Curriculum Framework is an integral part of national education policy. The development of the NCF is being guided by the National Steering Committee chaired by Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan. This mandate document will bring about a paradigm shift in focus on holistic development of children, emphasis on skilling, vital role of teachers, learning in mother tongue, etc. Thus, it will prove to be an important step towards the decolonization of the Indian education system. Besides, the Education Minister has also suggested creating an app-based process to enable suggestions for the NCF from every citizen of the country. Holding that it is right time to confer juristic status to Mother Nature, Madras High Court invoked the parens patriae jurisdiction. It declared Mother Nature as a living being having the status of a legal entity. It must be mentioned that under parens patriae, a state or court has a paternal and protective role over its citizens or others subject to its jurisdiction. The court has also directed the central and state governments to take appropriate steps to protect nature. It is worth noting that earlier the Uttarakhand government had also recognized the Ganga river as a living being. Moreover, living beings are capable of thinking, speaking and expressing, whereas legal entities are fictional beings. The only difference is that legal entities are capable of exercising rights or liabilities granted to them by law. Hence, the entities having the status of living beings will be able to directly approach the court for any violation of their rights. Corporations, companies, etc. fall under the category of legal entity. The court has also stated that the natural environment is part of the basic human rights under the right to life, and one should not destroy nature under the guise of sustainable development. If sustainable development destroys biodiversity and resources, it is not sustainable development, as it is sustainable destruction. The past generations have handed over Mother Earth to us in its pristine glory, and we are morally bound to hand over the same in a similar fashion to the next generation. It is being believed that court's verdict will curtail nature's unethical exploitation. Also, it will help curb obstacles posed in the way of environmental protection. Recently, a petition challenging Talaq-e-Hasan and all other forms of unilateral extrajudicial talaq has been filed in the Supreme Court. The petition claims that all these forms of divorce are arbitrary, irrational, and violate fundamental rights. Therefore, an appeal has been made to the apex court to declare all these forms of divorce as void and unconstitutional. It has been claimed in the plea that Talaq-e-Hasan and all other forms of unilateral extrajudicial talaq are grossly injurious to the fundamental rights of married Muslim women. It also offends Article 14, 15, 21 and 25 of the Constitution of India and violates International Convention on Human Rights. It further claimed that many Islamic nations have restricted such a practice while it continues to vex the Indian society. Besides, the petition also sought a direction to the centre to frame guidelines for neutral and uniform grounds of divorce and procedures for all citizens. It is worth mentioning that there are three major methods of giving divorce in Islam. These three methods are Talaq-e-Hasan, Talaq-e-Hasan and Talaq-e-Biddat. In Talaq-e-Hasan, the husband and wife live together for 3 months after pronouncing talaq once. If reconciliation takes place between these two during these 3 months, then divorce is deemed invalid. However, if no reconcilement is reached between the two, then divorce gets formalized. While in Talaq-e-Hasan, talaq is pronounced once a month over a period of 3 months. If cohabitation resumes after the first or second occurrence of talaq, the parties are assumed to have reconciled. If cohabitation is not resumed during this period, divorce gets finalized after the third utterance in the third month. In Talaq-e-Biddat or triple talaq, the husband can divorce the wife at any place and time through electronic means or in writing. In Talaq-e-Biddat, the conjugal relationship between the two ends immediately after 3 consecutive pronouncements of talaq. Talaq-e-Biddat has already been declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. The Chinese President Xi Jinping has recently put forward a new global initiative. It is being believed that this initiative will counter the US Indo-Pacific strategy and the Quad grouping. Speaking at the Boao Forum for Asia or BFA, Xi Jinping proposed a global security initiative against hegemony, power politics and bloc confrontation. BFA is an international organization of 29 countries. Its annual conference is held every year in Boao, Henan Province, China. It is aimed at promoting economic integration in Asia. While referring to the Quad and AUKUS security pacts, China stated that some countries were eager to engage in exclusive small circles and groups. Moreover, China has also opposed the Indo-Pacific strategy. According to China, this strategy will divide the region and create a new Cold War. In addition, the use of military alliances will put together an Asian version of NATO. In such a scenario, this security initiative will build a new Asian security model based on mutual respect, transparency and integration. Also, this initiative will oppose unilateralism while committing to comprehensive, cooperative and sustainable security. However, the Quad member states have completely rejected the notion that it is an Asian NATO or a military alliance. Quad has stated that it is based on comprehensive cooperation in which agreements have been concluded in various areas including technology and vaccines. Recently, more than 55 countries and the United States announced their commitment to defend a free and open internet. The pledge has been taken to uphold digital human rights in cyberspace. All these countries have concluded an agreement on this issue. Under the agreement, countries have pledged not to block citizens' access to internet, not to abuse internet technologies for illegal surveillance, or use digital tools to undermine trust in elections. The agreement is being called Declaration for the Future of Internet. All these countries have pledged that they will not limit citizens' access to illegal content and will not breach an individual's data security. Also, they have agreed to promote internet access and ensure the safety of internet users, especially youth and women. Apart from this, all the countries have agreed not to block content or websites by following the principle of net neutrality. Moreover, all the countries have also agreed to support multilateral efforts against cyber crimes. Governments and businesses have faced numerous ransomware attacks over the past few years. However, the commitment made by all these countries is not legally binding, but it can be used as a reference by policymakers, civil service organizations, etc. while drafting universal internet rules. The European Commission and the countries like Britain and Australia have also supported this commitment. However, two of the world's cardinal technological markets, India and Brazil, have not yet supported this declaration. The Reserve Bank of India has recently released the report on currency and finance for the year 2021-22. The theme of the report is Revive and Reconstruct in context of nurturing a durable recovery post-COVID and raising trend growth in the medium term. Also, the report mentions that India is likely to take other 13 years to overcome the losses incurred due to the COVID pandemic. It must be noted that RBI's latest report highlights various concerns and challenges. Eminent among them are challenges posed due to the pandemic, a rise in inflation due to Russia-Ukraine conflict, and deglobalization. According to the report, India suffered among the biggest pandemic-induced losses in the world in terms of output, lives, and livelihoods. Economic activity has barely recovered to pre-COVID levels even after 2 years. However, India is expected to over COVID-19 losses by 2034-35. Reports suggest that the Russia-Ukraine conflict has also dampened the momentum of recovery. Consequently, its impact transmitted through record high commodity prices, weaker global growth outlook, and tighter global financial conditions. Besides, concerns surrounding deglobalization impacting future trade, capital flows, and supply chains had amplified uncertainties for the business environment. The blueprint of reforms proposed in the RBI report revolves around 7 wheels of economic progress. They are aggregate demand, aggregate supply, institutions, intermediaries and market, macroeconomic stability and policy coordination, productivity and technological progress, structural change, and sustainability. As per the report, structural reforms and price stability are essential to achieve medium-term sustainable economic growth of 6.5 to 8.5%. Timely rebalancing of monetary and fiscal policies will likely be the first step in this journey. In addition, the report also suggests reducing general government debt to below 66% of GDP over the next 5 years to secure India's medium-term growth prospects. It is worth mentioning that the report emphasizes on structural reforms like raising the quality of labor through public expenditure on education, health, and Skill India mission, as well as innovation and technology. It includes promoting research and development activities and creating an enabling environment for startups and unicorns, etc. At present, India is in the throes of an unusually long series of heat waves. Heat waves, which began in the end of March 2022, scorched most of the North India by the end of April 2022. Also, the Indian Meteorological Department stated that April 2022 was the warmest month in the northwest India in the last 122 years. It must be noted that a heat wave is declared when the temperature becomes much higher than the normal temperature in an area. In fact, a heat wave is declared in plains when the maximum temperature is over 40 degrees centigrade and at least 4.5 degrees centigrade above the normal temperature. On the other hand, a severe heat wave is declared if the departure from normal temperature is more than 6.4 degrees Celsius. Records from the Indian Meteorological Department suggest that the average maximum temperature till April 27, 2022 was 35.7 degrees Celsius, the highest in 5 years for this month. Also, in MP, Rajasthan, Punjab and Gujarat, the average maximum temperature in April 22 has so far been the highest since 1951. Delhi, Uttar Pradesh and Haryana also recorded maximum temperatures due to the heat waves. In most of these states, the temperature has been consistently above 42 degrees centigrade and around 5 to 6 degrees Celsius above normal for this time of the year. It is worth mentioning that heat waves are declared in coastal areas when the maximum temperature rises to 37 degrees or more, while heat waves are declared in the hilly areas when the maximum temperature rises to 30 degrees Celsius or more. Recently, C-DAC, that is Center for Development of Telematics, and C-DAC, that is Center for Development of Advanced Computing, have jointly signed an MOU. The MOU was signed at the Semicon India 2022 event held in Bangalore. The MOU aims to promote indigenous technological design and development and work jointly in diverse areas of telecommunications and ICT. In the MOU, both C-DAC and C-DAC have agreed to collaborate in identification of activities in the areas of 4G and 5G, broadband, Internet of Things, computing, etc. Also, it has been agreed to work jointly for developing the above technologies. Besides, specific project agreements will be signed as and when required to enumerate the specific roles and responsibilities. This MOU will promote mutual synergy between the two ministries and organizations. It will also provide opportunities for developing world-class modern technologies. It will also aid in enhancing and securing the national communication network, boost seamless connectivity, and provide advanced applications which will bolster the foundation of Atmanirbhar Bharat. It is worth mentioning that C-DAC was established in 1984. It functions under the Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, Ministry of Science and Technology. It carries out research works in the field of indigenous design, development, and production of telecommunication activities. C-DAC is hailed as the progenitor of indigenous telecom revolution in the nation. It has played a cardinal role in the digitalization of the Indian telecom network. C-DAC was established in 1988 after the US refused to provide supercomputers to India. It functions under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. It carries out research and development works in the field of information technology and electronics, etc. It has developed several generations of computers since the creation of supercomputer Param. Global Network Against Food Crisis, or GNFC, has recently released its annual report on global food insecurity. According to the report, about 40 million more people experienced food insecurity in 2021 than 2020. The document also revealed that around 193 million people in 53 countries globally experienced severe food insecurity in 2021. The report mentions that the food security situation in Ethiopia, southern Madagascar, South Sudan, and Yemen is catastrophic. Therefore, urgent action is required to avoid widespread collapse of livelihood, starvation, and death of more than 500,000 people residing in these countries. The latest report claims that mainly 3 factors are responsible for severe food insecurity. These 3 factors are war or conflict, weather extremes, and economic shocks. According to the report, about 139 million people in 24 countries faced severe food insecurity due to war or conflict. Global Network Against Food Crisis is an international alliance of the United Nations, the European Union, various governmental and non-governmental agencies. It was launched at the World Humanitarian Summit 2016 by the European Union, the Food and Agricultural Organization, and the World Food Programme. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was on Europe tour recently. He visited 3 European countries, that is Germany, France, and Denmark. However, ahead of Prime Minister's scheduled visit to France, French defense major Naval Group announced that it was unable to participate in the India's P-75I, that is P-75 India project. Under this project, 6 conventional submarines were to be built in India for the Indian Navy. The Naval Group has stated that it cannot fulfill the RFP, that is Request for Proposal Conditions, related to AIP, that is Air Independent Propulsion System. Hence, it is unable to participate in the project. On the other hand, India has stated that the Naval Group does not want to share its technology with the Indian partner companies. Therefore, the Naval Group has breached this agreement. It must be noted that according to the Make in India program, any foreign company investing in the defense sector will have to share associated information and technology with the Indian partner company while manufacturing defense materials. RFP is a project-related document that contains all the terms and conditions of a deal between the government and the bidding company. AIP is a submarine-related technology. There are two types of submarines: the conventional submarines and the nuclear submarines. Diesel and electric batteries are used as fuel in conventional submarines, which require them to surface almost daily to get atmospheric oxygen for fuel combustion. However, AIP technology enables a submarine to remain submerged for a longer duration than normal diesel electric propulsion system. Project 75 is a project by Government of India that envisages indigenous construction of submarines. It was launched in 1999 for strengthening the Navy during the Kargil War. The project aimed at manufacturing 24 conventional submarines in India by 2030. Let us now look at the 5 questions based on the bulletin.
Questions for this series are: first question is, consider the following statements. 1. Hindi has been granted the status of the official language of the Union of India under Article 343(1) of the Constitution of India. 2. Article 351 of the Constitution of India provides for setting up a commission on official language. Which of the above statement or statements is or are not correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 nor 2. Next question is, consider the following statements with reference to the Currency and Finance Report of RBI for 2021 to 22. 1. The report's theme is Revive and Recover. 2. The report suggests reducing government debts to below 66% of GDP over the next 10 years. Which of the above statement or statements is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 nor 2. Next question is, consider the following statements. 1. A heat wave is declared when the maximum temperature in plains is more than 40 degrees Celsius and 45 degrees Celsius above the normal temperature. 2. Heat waves are declared in coastal areas when the maximum temperature is 30 degrees Celsius or more. Which of the above statement or statements is or are not correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 nor 2. Next question is, consider the following statements. 1. C-DAC was established in 1984 and it functions under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. 2. C-DAC was established in 1988 and it functions under the Ministry of Science and Technology. Which of the above statement or statements is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 nor 2. Last question is, consider the following statements. 1. Project 75 is a program of the Indian Navy to manufacture 6 Scorpion-class attack submarines. 2. Goa Shipyard Limited is manufacturing these submarines with technological assistance from Naval Group, a French company. Which of the above statement or statements is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 nor 2.
So for the time being, that's all in this bulletin. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe Drishti IAS Hindi, English and PCS YouTube channels. At the end, let us have a look at few more events of the last week in other news.
Ministry of Culture had recently issued an order to renovate the historic Anang Tal Lake, Delhi. The government is planning to declare Anang Tal Lake as a national monument, hence the lake is being renovated. Anang Tal Lake is located in Mehrauli, Delhi, and it was constructed by Anang Pal II in 1060 AD. Anang Pal II, also known as Anang Pal Tomar, belonged to the Tomar dynasty. He is credited with founding and settling Delhi in the 11th century. Bihar became the first Indian state to have a grain-based ethanol production plant. The plant is located in Purnia district, Bihar, and it is one of the proposed 17 ethanol units in Bihar. No waste will be generated by this plant as it has been constructed using latest technologies. Thus, it is also a zero liquid discharge ethanol production plant in Bihar. The central government has released the Citizen Registration System Report 2020 on the basis of birth and death reports. According to the report, there was a decline of about 2.40% in the birth rate between 2019 and 2020. As its result, the number of registered birth cases has come down to 2.42 crore in 2020, while the number of registered death cases increased from 76.40 lakh in 2019 to 81.20 lakh in 2020, which reflects an increase of 6.2% in the death rate. Indian Railways has announced to run the first Bharat Gaurav Paryatak train on 21st June 2022. This train will cover major sites on Ramayana circuit under Swadesh Darshan scheme. The major sites related to Lord Sri Ram's life have been included under the Ramayana circuit. TriFed, that is Tribal Cooperative Marketing Federation of India, had recently organized a national conference on wild and forest honey. The conference was organized in collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare and National Bee Board. The conference aimed at creating awareness about honey production and the tribes which collect honey. Honey is used as a popular sweetener around the world, and it is also rich in antifungal, antibacterial and antioxidant properties. Charudat Mishra from India was awarded with the prestigious Whitley Gold Award recently. The award was presented to him by the Royal Geographic Society of London. This is his second Whitley Fund for Nature Award. Earlier, he had received this award in 2005. He had been conferred this award for involving indigenous communities in the conservation of leopards found in mountainous regions of Asia. Lieutenant General B.S. Raju will be the next Vice Chief of the Army Staff. B.S. Raju is currently serving as the Director General of Military Operations, and he will take charge in place of Lieutenant General Manoj Pandey, the current Vice Chief of the Army Staff. General Manoj Pandey will take over as the Chief of Army Staff after the retirement of the incumbent General M.M. Narwane. Government of Maharashtra has approved the Gene Bank project. It is aimed at providing conservation of genetic resources within Maharashtra. About 172 crore rupees will be spent on this project in the next 5 years. It aims at conserving native and endangered animals, crops, marine and biological species. The project will work on 7 themes: marine crops, veterinary medicine, freshwater, grassland biodiversity, conservation and management of forest rights areas, and regeneration of forest. Maharashtra Prisons Department has started a credit scheme called Jivhala. It is a loan scheme for prisoners serving sentences in jails across Maharashtra. It will be implemented in collaboration with Maharashtra State Cooperative Bank. Earlier, it was implemented as a pilot project at Yerwada Central Jail in Pune. Now the scheme will be expanded to around 60 jails across the state. This is the first credit scheme for prisoners in India, which will provide helpful in rehabilitation of prisoners after the completion of their sentence. Basava Jayanti was celebrated with pomp and show in South India, including Karnataka, on 3rd May 2022. Basava Jayanti is major Hindu festival celebrated by Lingayats in Karnataka. The 12th century poet and philosopher Basaveshwara or Basavana was the founder of Lingayatism. Hence, Basavana's birth anniversary is celebrated by the Lingayat community in a special manner. He believed in providing equal opportunities to all in a society devoid of caste system.